Hey, 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 hey. Black excellence, black beauty, and black pride. Black power from all diasporas coincide. Progressive truth and regression eventually collide. May the beauty of the people no longer be set aside. May the black queen's grace continually mesmerize the millions who couldn't see it when looking into her eyes. And the black man's plight no longer be the disguise. Oppression, emasculation, they wanna castricize him. Take him away from the black queen, put him inside prison for slave labor, he institutionalized. Wondering on the outside, is she willing to ride? Is she willing to ride? Is she willing to fight for the love, even despite the fact that he doing time? Love that conquers all will never fade with time. If she don't choose the love that appreciates every life, his flame might get dim and he may.
The Urban Impact Show is sponsored by Green and Wood Media Services. Green and Wood uses digital media to help businesses, political campaigns, and organizations grow while increasing their community impact. Green and Wood Media is pleased to offer a digital media buying fellowship to train, develop, and mentor young people interested in digital media, politics, and advertising. Learn more at greenandwoodmedia.com.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. Today I'm here with my wonderful host,
Sanaya, Kayla,
Tiana.
And today we're going to be talking about the Texas school shooting.
At the Texas school shooting, Robb Elementary School, 19 kids our age were shot and killed.
So what were your guys' emotions about the school shooting? Like, what did you guys think about it?
I was kind of sad because those kids could have and would have had a future of being great.
I agree.
And I was angry because I was really confused on why the killer would even come up to an elementary school and just want to shoot up a whole bunch of little kids who could have, basically what you said, could have had a future or could have had somewhere to go.
Yes.
I feel sad for them because like you guys said, for a future, and their mom and dad probably would miss them.
I felt kind of sad for the family and kind of the school because that kind of ruins the school's reputation. And I felt very, not remorseful, but very sad for the family who had to go through that. And that's pretty much it. What was I going to say? Do you guys think that this school shooting has got more media coverage than any other school shooting? And is that a positive or a negative?
Probably positive. I would say positive because they want to, because the other school shootings would have been high school or middle schools, but these were actually elementary kids, fifth graders and fourth graders.
I think it's a positive and a negative to this school shooting, because the positive is that it brings awareness to more things that happen around the world. But I think the negative is that there has been many other school shootings that have happened like this and have not had as much media coverage from celebrities and pretty much political figures as this much. We'll be back. We're going on a break right now.
Bye.
Bye. See ya.
See ya.
See ya.
We are back with the Urban Impact Show, and I just want to say, like, a quick disclaimer that there is absolutely nothing positive about a school shooting, and I didn't mean it as that way. I just meant, like, the positive. I mean, not a positive, but it was just a positive of bringing awareness to the school shooting. So, what would you guys do if you guys were the killer?
I'd probably rethink what I did.
Not what would you do if you were the killer, but what would you think about if you were the killer?
First things first, I would think about the kids and their families that would miss them a lot, and I would think about how much damage it would do to their family if their young child would just be shot and killed.
I would like think about what I'm doing and why am I doing it, and if there's a reason, like if I'm going after somebody. And I will also, like, not trying to put this in a rude way, but also go get a therapist.
First of all, I want to say I don't have the mind of a serial killer. And second of all, I would check myself into a mental hospital right away.
Well, I would. If I was a murderer for killing kids, I would kind of feel really guilty for that.
Yeah, but we mean like what would you think before if you were about to kill the kids, not after?
Oh
no, you're fine. Okay. Do you guys think this, like, whose fault do you think this school shooting is on? Do you think it's the government who has allowed of Texas, who has allowed them to not have to carry a license or what else? What am I trying to think? A license or a permit to carry a gun? Or do you think it's not the serial killer, but the killer's fault?
I wouldn't think it's like either of them. One, I would probably say school, because you guys, they could have like police officers patrolling their school to make sure that there's no people who's trying to come in and hurt them.
I would say, like, it's the governor's fault, but at the same time, it's not the governor's fault. I would say it's the governor's fault because maybe they should, like, the person that's buying a gun or getting a gun have a reason to get the gun. Like, have an explanation and not just make up explanation talking about, this and that.
I think it's the government's fault because, again, they kind of cause these laws and these rules, and I don't really think it's fair for them to, like, make people keep masks on, but not make people carry a permit to carry a gun.
What you said, Miguel, yeah, it is the governor's fault, because why would someone do that? Yeah.
And be able to do it.
I have a question for everybody. How would you feel if the police went into the school to get their wife and kids, but not protect everybody else? How would you feel about that?
Can we say how we feel about it?
Yeah.
Do you mean like from the parents whose like kids got shot, or
like how would you feel?
I would feel like, how would I feel? I feel like, you can save. It's your job to save. Really your job to save all of us, but you're going to save your children and your wife, and not do your job to save all of us. That's how I'd feel. How would you feel?
I would feel probably mad and angry because, like you said, you would have enough courage to go up in there and save your wife and kids, but you wouldn't have enough courage to save, like, all the kids who got shot, and you could have prevented them from getting shot.
Not to mention, it wasn't even a cop who saved.
A patrol officer
who killed the killer. Your turn.
I'm not really sure.
Okay, that's okay. Yeah. A lot of us aren't sure about this event, but it's okay. Do you guys have any other comments? Because I know I have some, but I want to get your guys' thoughts out there.
I have a question for everyone. So, if you were in, like, the patrol officer's body, like, before he had, like, even came in, before the killer had even got there, well, not before the killer got there, would you, like, go save everybody who who could have not gotten shot from getting shot, or would you like just still save your wife and kids?
I would have saved everybody who, like, I would just, first I would, like, try to find the killer and try to, like kill it, like not kill it, but get it under control and get them arrested, and then I would go and try to save everybody.
I feel like I'd save my wife and my kids if I had some, but at the same time save everyone else because that's essentially my job.
Well, I would save all the kids because, well,
Your children.
yeah, because it would feel right. But if you're only if you're only protecting 2 people and not everyone else, then you're not really being a hero.
Active what?
Like, we have a lockdown drill where we have to practice, like, going to the back of the classroom and staying away from the windows and locking the doors. So it's kind of called a lockdown drill, basically. So, yeah, kind of, but not, like, if we're in the hallways or if we're somewhere else and not in our advisors. We have them for what we're in our classes, not if we're in the hallway and all of that.
Well, for
I would say yes and no because we have a drill set in place for that to happen if that was to happen, but we don't have like a set like, oh, if there's a killer in our school, go to this place, go to that place. We have a drill for it.
Well, for us, like she said, we would go like somewhere where there's no windows. We would lock our doors. Well, matter of fact, we would tie our doors shut, and then we would like put something over like the glass so that they won't see us. We would close our blinds, and we would lock another door if we had another door. And if we were in the hallway, we would if we were in the hallway, like going to the bathroom or something, they would advise us to like go to the nearest safe place. Like at my school, the 5th grade bathroom is like close to the art room, so and the last door for the art room is like not locked, so we would just go in there and then we would shut it.
That's what our school would do too. Usually we would have a magnet for the door so it wouldn't open, and we would all like stand right next to our lockers, and yeah, we would all just be quiet.
Let me tell y'all, I've never had active shooter training when I was in school.
What's it like?
Yeah.
How does it make you feel?
Our teachers tell us like to stay quiet, no making no noise, and like they would tell us like to be as still as possible so we wouldn't make a lot of noise, and we would have to stay there for a long time if a killer were to be in our school, and they would like give us basic training not to freak out or not to not to scream, because like if you scream, the killer would know where you are, and they would try to break in.
Well, I would be scared if that would actually happen, and I would mostly I would just be quiet and just listen to the teacher and like just stay calm. But if someone else is like freaking out, I would try to like tell them like, hey, it's okay, we're not going to be harmed or anything like that.
You two, do you feel prepared?
No.
Yes.
Whose job is it to prepare you?
The people that are like the teachers, I would say.
I feel like it's kind of our responsibility to prepare ourselves because I feel like you'd have to pick yourself up to be ready to deal with whatever's coming towards you.
Do you think that's even possible? Are you nervous that this is going to happen at some point in your school career?
Yes.
Probably no, because I mean, as more awareness about this topic and issue comes along, I feel like schools will be a lot stricter about more things. So no, I hope not though.
At my school, at my old school we did this, but at my school now, we don't really have much lockdown drills. Like the most drills we have is either fire drills or tornado drills. We don't have lockdowns drills, so yes, I am scared because we haven't had practice on how to do a lockdown drill?
Me personally, I am not scared because we have at least 2 or 3 police officers come into our school and like walk around for 3 or 4 hours checking to see if everything's okay. And another thing I'm kind of scared, but I'm kind of not, because one, our principal it would be hard for her to get on the intercom and like tell us that somebody is in our school if the killer comes to the office first. Probably the killer would hear on the intercom, and if it's in the hallways, he would hear that my principal has warned us about it.
Last thing, if you guys could encourage the families out in Texas and the youth out in Texas, T, I want to start with you. What would you tell them? What would you say to them if you wanted to encourage them?
It's okay, and we'll pray for you.
Justice will be served.
I agree with Miguel. Justice will be served, and I'm so sorry this happened to you, and you will be in my prayers.
Like she said, I'm sorry for you. You'll be in our prayers, and we'll also make sure that that's brought to justice.
Okay, thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day to watch. I'm Miguel, and hope you see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. See you later.
ya.
Bye. Thank you for watching.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Urban Impact Show. I am Rob Johnson. I'm sitting here with Miss Brittany Dudley and Miss Dawana Bradley. We're going to jump right into it because we are live from the studio here in Windsor Heights. If you would like to book this space, please feel free to call or text with questions 515-996-0326. Let's jump right in it. Our youth just got done talking about the school shooting. I know I got some thoughts, but Brittany, I want to start with you.
I think first, like, you just kind of out of the mouths of babies, like, just for them to have to even think about this on this level and for them to kind of articulate things the way they did, I thought it was really well. I think that just along the topic of the police officers going in there and kind of rescuing their kids and their wife first, I think that's just like a human's natural instinct to go protect their, their own. I think that my issue lied around the response time to go back in there. I feel like, why did it take so long? Like, I get you going to get your kids and your wife, but why did it take so long to go back in there? I think that concerned me. Naturally, I probably would have did the same thing, first instinct, but I think maybe send help or send someone else back in there or quickly go back in there myself after rescuing, my child. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for me, the hardest part is watching the impact that it has on young people. Mm-hmm. I want to give a shout out to my nephew, Ivan, who has actively put on a petition because he wants guards in his school. He goes to school here in Des Moines Public Schools. He sent that to me to sign and others to sign. And I haven't signed it, not because I don't know what the right answer is, but I do know that he should not have to be in a position to make where he's trying to figure out what he needs to do to protect his school. Yeah. This is a young man who's in middle school who is saying, I want guards at my school because that's the only way that I feel safe to be educated. And I think for me, it's hard for me to pick out people's decisions because I can never say what I would do in a moment of emergency or what I think about myself first or what I think about my kids. I don't know what I would do in that situation. But what I do know is that some people were trained for this very moment. Yeah. And unfortunately, that training went out the window for some reason at that moment and they decided not to act. And because of their actions, we had a lot of people lose their lives. Yeah. Now, it could have been the same way, but we had individuals who were trained for this moment who made a decision to not act. Yeah. And because of that, we're having this conversation.
Just to close this out before we bring on our guests and we switch the topic to politics, 6 months ago, I would have had a whole different answer before Eli was born. And I've had a gun drawn on me because of the color of my skin, right? Shout out to Al Wumble and Will Sims, because we've literally been in these situations where we've had to make life or death calls. Yeah. Al Wumble literally had me underneath. I'm laughing now, but it wasn't funny at the time. Literally had me underneath his armpit, like running to the car because they were drawing guns on us because they didn't like the fact that we were registering black people to vote in a predominantly rural white area. Getting out that vote meant something. And so, I don't know, y'all. Like, I myself personally, if I was the officer, like I am trained to go in there and do what I'm supposed to do, that failed on all fronts. Yeah. I don't know if I would have just went in there to get Eli, but I know if I would have went in there, I would have been going in there, guns blazing, trying with the forefront of, not only am I here to protect Eli, but I'm also here to protect his friends and his friends' family, and these teachers, right? They woke up that morning and went to work. Yeah. That's what they did. They woke up that morning and went to work. Shout out to Dr. Rich over at Des Moines U, whose nephew was at the school. Wow. So with that, we send our thoughts and prayers to Texas. And also, don't forget, 10 black people were murdered in a grocery store for being black. Yeah. we will not forget them. We'll be right back with our first guest of the show, Mr. Kevin McCarthy, who is running for Polk County Attorney right here in Des Moines, Iowa, in the Polk County, Iowa area. And so we'll be right back with him. Stay tuned because you definitely want to hear what he has to say as we finish up this topic of voting while black. All right, everybody, welcome back. We just finished up talking about all of these shootings that have taken place in our country, man. And you know, Iowa's not too far removed. We are in a political season, and I know all of this stuff brings up politics, right?
Yes.
Everybody starts talking about politics.
all
What's
political.
going on?
Yeah.
You know, what's happening? Why is it happening? Who do we blame? Right? We're looking
Right.
for somebody to blame. But there is an election happening on June 7th, which is a primary election. So I was at the Wing Truck. Shout out to Wings on Wheels. I was at the Wing Truck, and they said to me, Rob, like, we really need y'all to break this down. Like, we're not all like where y'all are, so you need to break this down. So after Kevin is done, we're going to break this down for everybody so that y'all know what's going on. Kevin, are you there with us?
I'm here. Hope you can hear me.
Yes, we sure can. I'm going to go ahead on and toss it to Dewana to bring us in with our first question for you.
Yeah, Kevin, welcome to the Urban Impact Show. I just want to start off first by having you share with our viewers a little bit about who you are and what you're running for and why that's important to you.
Thank you. How much would you like me to spend on this? Do you want me to stay 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 1 minute? What would you prefer?
Give about 2 minutes.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Well, thank you for having me. It's an honor to be on the show. My name is Kevin McCarthy. I grew up the son of a cop who earned $6,500 a year back in the 1970s. But later on, I would go to law school and become the ranking member of the House Public Safety Committee and become the House Majority Leader for the Iowa House of Representatives and become the Iowa House Minority Leader. and then I left to go be the first assistant attorney general of Iowa. And I worked on 3 issues there: mental health, Veterans Affairs, and elder abuse. I then and I supervised the Consumer Protection Division, the Crime Victim Assistance Division, and the Prosecuting Attorneys Training Division. But my main focus during my time at the Attorney General's office was on criminal justice reform. And I'm not criticizing the media. Make no mistake that I understand that times have changed, and print media particularly is struggled with budgetary issues and staff issues. But I have passed many issues of criminal justice reform. I don't think anybody's passed more criminal justice reform legislation in the history of Iowa than myself. And I can get into that during this program. But I was able to get the Board of Parole more authority to get rid of mandatory minimums for nonviolent drug offenders. I think we got rid of 385 people out of prison the next year. I was able to decouple license suspensions from misdemeanor marijuana convictions, get rid of the $200 license reinstatement fee to the TOT. And I'm skipping some here, but we got rid of more mandatory minimums, by the way. We reduced robbery. Keep in mind, I'm working in many cases with the Republican legislature. It's very difficult to get things done when you're somebody who's viewed as kind of a partisan Democrat. But I get things done. I'm able to work within the context of Republicans. And I tell my Democratic friends, lest you think that we don't have a Republican state right now, we do. And you got to have somebody to work within the Republican system. And then in the wake of the George Floyd death, I got a phone call from 2 legislators, one of whom is my co-chair, Representative Akeyo Abdul-Samad. And they asked me to help put together a team to pass legislation. And it did 3 things with that legislation. And I think I'm probably running out of time, but I'll let you ask me questions about what's in the legislation and what we did. But I have passed criminal justice reform over and over and over again. Whether Democrats were in charge or Republicans were in charge, I get things done. And I get things done regardless of the odds. And sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. I won more often than not than I've lost. My campaign co-chairs are Representative Ruth Ann Gaines and Representative Akeyo Abdul-Samad, and because they know where my heart's at. And I'm going to be a good county attorney, a left of center, mainstream county attorney, a progressive county attorney. But look forward to having this conversation this evening, and thank you for having me.
Okay, thank you. So I have another question for you. You know, I know that there's other candidates going for the same role. Why you? What makes you different?
I don't want to be negative, but you asked me a question, so I'll give you an honest answer. I think there's a question to be asked in this race, in my opinion, just my opinion, obviously. John Sarcone is the current county attorney. He's been the county attorney for 32 years, and he handpicked his successor, who was working for Donald Trump's appointee in the U.S. Attorney's Office in the Southern District, Mark Kirkbaum, who's also given my opponent $2,500, by the way. So he brought over Laura Roan to be his handpicked successor, and he announced in June of last year that he would not be running again. And at 1 p.m., she announced her candidacy with his endorsement. So John Sarcone's handpicked candidate is Laura Roan, who came from the Donald Trump administration. I'm running against another person named Kimberly Graham, and she seems to have a lot of good progressive ideals. And frankly, I agree with most of them. I just don't think she's ever managed anything. I don't think she's done anything of substance in terms of managing a budget or ever handling any sort of significant case. She's done a lot of the work I have done over the years. So I think her and I have somewhat of a similar outlook on the criminal justice system, except that I've gotten things done. And I've managed, I'll give you one example. Just one division in my office, at the Attorney General's office, was the Crime Victim Assistance Division. There's a $34 million budget, and we never had a problem with an audit or a misspent penny. I have experience, and so I think that part of it is being the majority leader of the House of Representatives and the minority leader of the House of Representatives and the former First Assistant Attorney General of Iowa. I have a breadth of experience that I think is unmatched in any candidate that's ever sought this office. That doesn't mean I don't respect my 2 colleagues. I do, but you asked me a question and I gave you an honest answer. So thank you very much.
Kevin, Rob Johnson here. I wanted to ask you about this. So we know that blacks have been disproportionately affected by John Sarcomb's rule over Polk County Attorney. It has not been a fair shake. Things has not been fair. I was just at the courthouse because my team goes out there to support people who are arrested and who do have to show up at court, because sometimes it can get really lonely, and you can feel you can feel like everybody's against you in that moment. So tell me, what would you do specifically for the African American community to feel like the county attorney's office, yet you have to do your job and prosecute crimes, but what would you do to make the African American community feel like they have a friend in that office? And I'm not talking about some cosmetic change and coming out, shaking hands and saying thank you and doing barbecues at the park. I'm talking about systemically, what would you do as the attorney? What would you do to make sure that this community has an opportunity to be heard and felt and saw by the Polk County Attorney's Office?
I appreciate that question. So we can judge me in part upon what I say, obviously, because what I say is important, but also judge me upon what I've done. The Attorney General came to me in 2014 and he said, Kevin, there's too many people in prison for too many reasons for too long. Now, what does this have to do with African Americans? Not specifically African Americans, but we looked and there was disparate impact in recidivism where African Americans were being tripped. When I say tripped, I mean recidivated. In other words, you're on parole and you're getting kicked back to the prison system. And so we instituted the adult culturally sensitive probation parole program. And even though this has never been reported on, again, I don't criticize the media, but in 2018, we didn't get the stats until right before COVID hit in late 2019. The recidivism rate for African Americans was 0.1% less than Caucasians. It's a program that's working, and I was a part of that program. I could get into the details of the program, but it's actually quite complicated. But we were working on that. And then I went in and looked at there is a disparate effect on marijuana. And too many people get into the system. So I worked with the legislature, and we decoupled license suspensions from misdemeanor marijuana possessions. It doesn't exist anymore. You don't get your license suspended because somebody finds a joint on somebody. And we did that. The other thing that I have proposed in this office is I will have a director of community outreach. Hopefully, if I have the budget, I'll have more. I have no problem expanding the empire of the county attorney's office if it's in a progressive direction. But at a minimum, even if I have no budget, I'm going to have a director of community outreach who will be a person of color. And the other thing is just to work with people and go through the strife, work through the strife. There's going to be strife sometimes with the community, regardless of the community. I don't care whether you're in Waterloo or you have a strife with the Bosnians, or whether you're in Des Moines and you have strife here. You work through it. And somebody asked me this. I did an interview the other day, and somebody asked me, what will you do for the Latino community to support them? And I said, well, my wife is Latino, and she thinks I don't support her at all. And I didn't mean that as a joke, but it was partially a joke. I never grew up with a racial conscious mind. I grew up always living in the city of Des Moines, always working with people. And in the county attorney's office, I'm going to change the way the drug and gang unit is organized. And I said this the other day, and I'm sure it's causing earthquakes within the office, but I said, I'm going to shuffle some of those folks around and I'm going to change things. There's too much power that exists in that office. And I could go into that for hours to tell you about some of the cases I've had. But I've done things in this regard. I get things done. And I told you, and I can get into this, one of the other things that I took away power from the county attorneys. One of the reasons I think the current administration is not supporting me is I took away power from the county attorneys on decertifying an officer, charging an officer, directly filing an officer on deaths that result under color of law, and we gave it away to the state. And that was very controversial, but I got it done. I got to get things done, and I could get into that as well. But anyway, I could go on and on, but I'm going to continue to be a progressive voice in the criminal justice system. I'm proud of what I've accomplished.
All right. Well, Kevin McCarthy, we have 1 minute left. Anything else from Brittany or Dewana? No. Okay. Well, Kevin, we definitely want to see more of you out in the community and make sure that we're doing. Make sure people are getting a chance to hear from you before they cast their ballot. Voting has already started. It started May 18th. You can go down to the county attorney's office. To the county auditor's office to vote early. Kevin, before we let you go, can you tell people if they want to support your campaign or if they want to know more about you, where can they go and how can they get a hold of you?
Site. I think it's on your page right there, although I'm blind, even with my glasses on. It's McCarthyPolkCounty.com. But my cell phone, people call my personal cell phone. I don't have any problem. I'm not going to shy away from the public. So my cell phone number, I'll say it twice, 515-608-2257, 515-608-2257. That's my personal cell. People can call me for any reason, for anything, and I'm happy to talk to them about the race. And I look forward to having any conversation that anybody wants to have. Thank you for letting me do this via. I've never done this before, just Google thing. It's kind of like Zoom, but I kind of like it. So thank you.
Right. No, it's all good. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is running for Polk County Attorney. And so he is running against Laura Rome and Kimberly Graham, who you all have seen on this show before. As you can see, these individuals are stepping out because they want to earn your vote. So please, when you get to the ballot, take a look at who you've seen, who you've heard from, and then cast your ballots from there. Kevin, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to, if you win
Thank you so much.
If you win, we look forward to having you on, and maybe somebody from this team being the director of community outreach. I'm maybe looking at her.
About it. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Thank you, Kevin. See you soon.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye. All right, guys. Thank y'all so much for watching. Man, so we have just about 10 minutes left in the show. Yeah. Can I take like a few minutes to break this down?
Go ahead, break it down. Okay. Break it down. Because I can't break it down. You break it down.
Okay, go ahead. Because I really want people to understand what's going on here. So I'm going to start locally. So locally, you have school board elections and they have districts. If you want to know the districts, you just Google and say, hey, which district am I in? And you vote. The reason you vote for a school board, the reason why it's important to vote for a school board election is because the school board controls 33% of your taxes, whether you like it or not. Your money is going to go there, and whether you have a child or not, you are paying for
Whether
it.
you support them or not.
You are paying for it. So you should vote in it because you're paying for it, number one. All right, so then we go from school board to city council. City council is also divided up into districts, but then you also have what are called at-large council members, which then represent the entire city. And so then you vote for them, and the mayor is also voted pretty much as an at-large city council member. I want to be clear on this. The mayor has no power in this form of government in Des Moines. It is only based off of coalitions. So if the mayor can't get a majority of votes, he cannot get anything done or passed. Please understand. The mayor has no power in this form of city government that we have here in Des Moines unless he has a majority of votes, so he has to build coalitions. Now, the city government is truly ran by the city manager, who we do not vote for. That city manager is hired and fired by city council. And the city manager then runs everything as far as the city goes. Your fire chief, your police chief, your city attorneys, your communications for the city, your HR department. The city attorney the city manager is the one who then runs the entire city. The council votes on what is brought to them by the city manager. Now we go to the county. The county, you have a county treasurer, you have a county auditor, and you have a county attorney. Now, the county treasurer looks at all of the money that is happening in the county. This is why you had somebody like Mary Wells on our show, who is the current Polk County treasurer, who is running for that office. She's running so that you all can elect her to continue to do her job as county attorney, making sure that the money in the county treasurer for Mary Wells, to make sure that the money is flowing correctly in the county. The county auditor makes sure that all of our elections are done in a fair and right way. Right. They make sure that when something happens when it comes to elections, they are in charge. The auditor is there to make sure that our elections are fair and that things according to the law, because they have to follow the law. They can't just do whatever they want to do. The auditor has to make sure that they're following that law. And then you have the Polk County attorney. Polk County attorney looks at all of the cases, determines who goes to jail and who doesn't, who gets charged and who doesn't. Now, when you have primary elections means that two people from the same side are running, or more than one, I should say. You have more than one person. You can have up to 10, right? We've seen in one district there's like 6 of y'all. But a primary election cuts that down to one of those candidates.
No, it's party's choice. You're running for the top candidate for that party. Those are the primary elections.
Right, hold on, let me finish. It cuts it down to one candidate for that side that you vote for. So we're not even going to talk about party, because a lot of these people that we're trying to communicate this to, they ain't really on the party thing. It's a side.
Okay. And we'll tell you what that side
is. That side. And so you got Puma on one side, Nike on one side, and Adidas on another side.
There you go.
And you got 3 people running for each group. For the Puma side, you got 3 people running. The primary election brings it down to 1 Puma person. The primary election brings it down to 1 Nike person, 1 Adidas person, after all of them folks have ran.
Yeah.
We all are clear on that.
Speak the language.
Now, take out the shoe reference and input Democrat, Republican, Libertarian. Okay? You have multiple Democrats running, multiple Republicans running, multiple Libertarians running. I'm not going to get into exactly how many, because that's unnecessary. But what you're voting to make sure that you're selecting one Democrat to appear on what we get into after June 7th, which is called the general election. The general election then takes 1 Democrat, 1 Republican, and 1 Libertarian who we've picked as a public and independent. And there may be an independent person there, who we've picked as a public to have on the ballot. This is the person that the Democrats are going to support. This is the person that the Republicans are going to support. This is the person that the Libertarians are going to support. And then they appear on the ballot for the general election.
So can I ask you a question?
Yes.
So tell a person, would they see Deidre DeGire's name on the primary? Because I've had that asked, would her name and Kim Reynolds' name be on the primary ballot?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Because that's who we've already selected.
Yes. And so please understand this. When you show up to vote in a primary, you are showing up to vote in a certain side's primary. When I showed up to vote, and I'm okay with letting y'all know, I went the Democratic side, right? So when I showed up to vote, they asked me, am I going to take a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot or a Libertarian ballot, right? I took the Democratic ballot, voted down on who I wanted for the Democrats, right? If I would have taken a Republican ballot, then I would have saw all Republican names. When you vote in the primary, you don't see the other side's names on your ballot. That's when you get to what is called the general election, okay? The general election has everybody's name on the ballot that you will vote for. When you get to the general election, which happens in November, you have one person from each party that represents the office that they are running for, and that is who they have, and that is who we are supporting based upon who's ever running. Remember, you won't see measure ballots on primary elections. Those are general election questions, okay? Now, once you get to the general election, so after June 7th, everybody, Adidas done pick their people, Nike done pick their people, Puma done pick their people, and we're ready to go. We're now set for the general election on this person versus that person to get, and whoever wins out of those individuals wins the actual seat itself. So if you voted for Deidre DeGier, if you voted for Kim Reynolds, please know you voted for the primary. You got to show back up in November if you want them to actually win the position. Okay?
Question?
Yes.
So I show up at the primary and I'm registered as a Republican, but I do not want to vote on the Republican ticket. Can I make a change when I show up on the 7th?
Yes, you can. So wait. I want to correct this.
Okay.
You can no longer register the day of the election. You can no longer do that based upon the new Secretary of State rules that were put in there. You used to be able to show up and change the day of. Now you have to register prior to voting the day of if you want to change your party. If not, then you can go in and do what you got to do. If you do, then you have to do it like the day. You have to register the day before. So, 30 days prior. Okay. All righty.
I'm just throwing all these questions out there because I know what happens when people go to the polls. They don't know.
So listen,
and then they get thrown off.
So can I tell y'all something? I went to go vote, and as I was walking out, people were messaging me. Like, Rob, I'm confused about this. Rob, I'm confused about this. Rob, who's this? Rob, what is that? Rob, what is, so people were asking questions, like, as they were sitting down trying to early vote, they were messaging me like, sir, so I want to make sure. I know this stuff can get boring, but please hear me, y'all. This is so important because if we do not show up in November and vote, you all are in for a long 4 years. I promise you. Your children will be affected, your grandparents will be affected, and you will be affected. I promise you that. With that being said, I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let y'all close the show.
I think that was good. This is great information. You got to understand, people don't get this. They don't understand it. I think they want to know it, but they get confused. And then with all of these changes in laws, if you don't keep up with the different changes and what the expectations are, then what happens is you get down to the polls and you go to vote, then you're getting upset because someone's telling you something that you had no knowledge of because there's not anyone going around educating people 24/7 on this is what the primaries are, this is what general election is, this is what this means if you do that. And so because we lack that and things get changed and we're not always paying attention to that stuff, this is important.
I do want to mention there are no primaries in local city elections. I want to be clear on that. Those aren't primary elections. You show up. Seats that are local. Yep. Local seats like city council and school board. Those aren't primaries. You just show up and vote for who you want to vote for.
And you won't be doing that in November.
Yeah, no, you won't be doing that in November. But please remember this, everybody. There is an election every year. You are voting for something. You're not just voting for president every 4 years. Please hear me clearly. You're not voting for president every 4 years. You are voting for something every year, whether it's the county auditor, treasurer, attorney, school board, mayor, House of Representatives, state senate, governor, U.S. Senate, U.S. Congress, or president. You are voting for something every single year. Also, don't forget, you're also voting for your state auditor, your state treasurer. You're also voting for your secretary of state who is in charge of voting for your state. So if you don't like these voting rules, vote for somebody else.
That's right.
You have the power. You have the power to determine how we do this. You do.
Yep.
If you show up.
That's right.
So what do we have, like 8 or 9 more days of voting?
10.
10 more days to vote. So make sure if you guys have any questions, like Rob said, hit their inbox. If you have his number, his text message, so you won't be confused when it's time for you to vote.
Yeah, no, the show, that's what we've been doing this whole time.
Yeah.
We haven't been doing this just because we're doing it for whatever. We've been doing it for several reasons. One, we want to make sure that you have an opportunity to see these candidates face to face. I say this over and over again. You don't need an hours long debate to figure out who you're going to vote for. You can really figure someone out in about 10 minutes.
In an episode.
And it doesn't take long to figure someone out. If they're jiving you, if they're for real, if they're gonna make a change for you and what you believe in, it's very simple. We want to make sure you're educated. 2, we want to make sure that you're educated on voting and why it's so important. We keep saying over and over, this voting thing is important and that it's serious, because what we have failed to realize here, I'll say in our city and across the United States, is how much people power we actually have. We do not exercise our people power. What we do is we allow people to come in, make these rules, make these laws, then we complain about it. And I'm just going to circle back to the shooting in Texas. We have the power to make some changes, but what we do is we let people do politics and argue and showcase and showboat about this. But as people, if we showed up and went down to the State House and said, we demand or we expect these changes to take place, these folks need your vote.
Yes.
So they're going to do what you ask them to do because they want to stay in office. They like some of that power too. So I just want to encourage people that when we tell you to vote, it's because there is power in your vote. We the people, that's a statement for a reason. We the people have the power to make a collective change, but we the people have gotten lazy. We don't want to say that out loud, but we the people have gotten lazy. We have allowed a handful of people to make all of the decisions for us. And it's time for we the people to get up off of our seats and put a little bass in our voice and make some change. That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say. So we're going to end it with that. Get off your tail. Get there to vote.
Get up off of that thing.
Yeah, join me on June 7th. That's when I'm going to vote. I told you I'm a last minute person.
Oh, real quick. June 4th, Al Wumbo is organizing a march to the polls. Right. June 4th, DeWanna put together the flyer for it. June 4th at... he's putting together a march to the polls.
That's right, march to the polls.
From Coles Commons to the county auditor's office on June 4th at 1 p.m. So show up 1 p.m. Yeah, it is literally two blocks. It's more like a stroll. So show up. We want as many people out there. The reason why it's important, even if you've already voted, it's important to come out.
Yeah.
Because I've already voted, but I'm going because I want to make sure that we're showing up in numbers.
Yeah.
Because we have to send a clear signal on what's going on. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's good. So make sure you show up June 4th. Also, tune in next week for the Urban Impact Show. We're kicking off Juneteenth, y'all. We have so much stuff happening in the month of June, and we're super excited to have some individuals on the show next week that you definitely are going to want to see. We're wrapping up this time of talking about voting, but make sure you join us back in October because we will be talking about this all over again, and we'll be talking to all of those who will be on the ballot and educating you more. So we thank you. We thank the kids for all they did today with the show. They did an amazing job. Unfortunately, they had to talk about a subject they should not have to be talking about as young people. Well, we thank them for rising to the occasion, and we thank you for joining us today. We will see you next week on the Urban Impact Show.
Have a good week, everybody.